All right, let's get back to that breaking news story. 75th and Shadeland, an officer has been shot. Let's listen into this news conference.
And as a result of their bravery tonight, one of our officers was shot in the leg. I'm happy to report that he's in stable condition at St. Vincent's Hospital. Chief Randy Taylor is there with him, as well as the officer's family. The information I'm going to provide you now is preliminary. As we move forward in this investigation, new facts and circumstances will become known. So tonight, shortly before 9 p.m., officers with the North District were dispatched to the 7500 block of Bayview Club Drive on a domestic disturbance. Both officers arrived here at the apartment complex. They attempted to make contact with the people inside, but they got no response. As one of the officers was checking the perimeter of the apartment, the suspect, there's still some circumstances we don't know, fired shots at the officer, striking the officer. The officer fled back from the scene, took cover until he was moved from the area from his partner. His partner, thankfully, is equipped, like all of our officers are equipped, with tourniquets, applied that tourniquet to the officer's injuries. We know that right now we have 3 people, in addition to the officer, who were at local hospitals suffering from gunshot wounds. One is a juvenile female in critical condition at Methodist Hospital. There is another adult female at St. Vincent's Hospital in critical condition. The suspect was transported to Eskenazi and is deceased. We believe his injuries were self-inflicted. No officers, no IMPD officers fired any shots during this incident. 3 other juveniles were able to escape from this apartment complex and are safe, and they are in the custody of IMPD. There are no ongoing threats to the city of Indianapolis or this area right now. And with that, I will answer any questions that I'm able to right now. Oh, one other thing, I want to thank Indianapolis Emergency Medical Services, the Lawrence Fire Department, the Fishers Police Department, and the Indiana State Police for their partnership and their assistance tonight. We could not do this job without them and the many other brave and heroic people in public safety.
Chief, do we know who made the call?
Were shot? Were they all inside the apartment? Just the 3 kids that escaped? Were they inside, or how many people were inside?
Yes, at some point, as our SWAT team was setting up a perimeter around the apartment, we weren't sure if the suspect was still inside or not. They made entry into the house and found the other victims inside the house and the suspect, who were all inside the apartment. Sorry.
Chief, do we know who called 911? Was it someone inside the apartment or in another apartment?
I don't know exactly where the 911 call came from at this point.
At any point, was this a barricade situation where people were being held hostage inside?
I wouldn't necessarily describe it as such. We treated it like that because of, I guess, we treated it like that because we weren't sure whether or not the person was in there. We were getting conflicting information. We received some new information that maybe there was someone else injured in the house. That's when the SWAT team made the decision to make entry into the house, and they found the suspect and 2 other victims inside.
Chief, can you speak to, this is yet another incident where juveniles and children were involved in a situation?
Yeah. You know, like I said in my opening, the officers, when they get these domestic violence type calls, they're the most dangerous and uncertain type of call that an officer can get. Obviously, the tensions and the emotions are high in these type of incidents, and we saw tonight what can happen when people make bad decisions and have no other way to deal with their conflict except through violence. It's unacceptable. We also have to think and wrap our arms around the children that were able to escape. They're traumatized. They're going to be traumatized for some time, and we as a community owe it to them to provide them everything they can to grow up happy and healthy after what they've experienced tonight.
Do we know the relationship between the suspect and the other and all of the people, the victims?
That's still a little cloudy right now. We're unsure exactly what that relationship is.
You mentioned that there were 3 other people that were hurt in addition to the officer. Is that just the suspect, the juvenile female, and the adult female, or was there another person other than the suspect that's at the hospital?
No, that's it. That's
okay.
I think you named it. Yep.
The 2 that are in critical condition tonight, you mentioned they're both in the hospital. Do we know where they were shot?
I don't know that information right now.
And do we know their relation to each other?
I don't know that either. there's still a lot of interviews that have to be done. And of course, those that are in the hospital are in critical condition and they're not able to give a statement right now. So that information is going to be a little bit delayed before we understand exactly what happened.
One last question.
Can you explain?
And you've been watching live coverage now as IMPD giving us an update on this tragedy tonight that took place at 75th and Shadeland around 9 o'clock tonight. An IMPD officer responding to a domestic situation was shot in the leg. They were able to get that officer away from the apartment. Officers went into the unit, found the suspect dead from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. A girl has been taken to Methodist Hospital, is in critical condition. A woman taken to St. Vincent Hospital in critical condition, and 3 other children were able to escape the apartment unharmed. So again, you've got 1 dead tonight. You've got an officer who was shot in the leg in stable condition. You've got a woman and a young girl who are now in critical condition, and 3 others that were inside that apartment. And while they may not have been harmed physically by any gunfire, you can just imagine what that must have been like for that family inside as a result of a domestic situation. We're going to continue to stay on top of this, get more information from police. We'll take a break right here and be right back.